trying something a little bit different, and I am becoming more self aware with the length that maybe shorter is better. But I'm going to jump in and go right to AEW because this way I can also note that the AEW Rampage preview that I normally do on Fridays will be up later today, ahead of Rampage. But speaking of AEW, Tony Khan has went on record to say that he has big interest in former IWGP star or New Japan star Kota Ibushi. Now, if Ibushi did remain, or Ibushi's been nursing a very serious shoulder injury over the last year, and it is coming off a falling out with New Japan. So there is a possibility that if Ibushi does come to AEW or did arrive in AEW, that it wouldn't be for the foreseeable future, because as of right now, in my opinion, I think Ibushi, or to my knowledge, Ibushi is still nursing said injury as of right now. So it would be probably later in 2023, but you have to figure that there is interest in Ibushi coming into AEW based on the prior history between Ibushi and Kenny Omega. So if Omega can pull some strings, then maybe Ibushi will make an exception to come into AEW. Even with AEW's association with New Japan, that maybe AEW could get a big get in Kota Ibushi, who may be making the move over to America in 2023 for some dates when he is 100%. But he also talked about, Ibushi did, about making the move to training and taking a further break from from in-ring competition, which I don't know if that is where Ibushi is in his career or if that's just something he's considered, but it is never a bad thing to look to get back to the next generation, especially when you're somebody like Kota Ibushi, who has done everything in the wrestling business over his career and has been nothing more than a top star in the biggest company in his home country. Maybe I should stop going for that basement dropkick. As I totally forget what I'm doing because I wasn't looking up, I was looking down. But speaking of somebody who who has been the talk of the town because of his absence, that being the former TNT champion Miro. Miro has been off AEW TV for a few months now, and there have been talk of the reason why Miro is off TV, and it seems like if there's anything to what we've heard from both Fightful Select and Dave Meltzer, it seems to be a little bit of both from both parties, that it's just not been the right fit for Miro to come back. More than anything else, it's not because of a lack of creative, it's not because of, it's not one person is not to blame for Miro being gone. It is just a situation of the right fit not being found for Mr. Miro coming back to AEW. But we can hope, for the sake of all those Miro fans out there, that Miro will make his return to AEW in 2023. But the one thing that is worth noting is Jonathan Gresham. Jonathan Gresham, somebody who had one of the many talents now that have had a falling out with AEW's owner, Tony Khan, is now looking up to Canada and looking up to the underdog, that being Impact Wrestling, that Jonathan Gresham officially signed with Impact and will be making his Impact Wrestling debut, in-ring debut, I should say, or is projected to have one of his first matches, at least his pay-per-view debut, at Hard to Kill on January the 13th against Eddie Edwards after assisting long-term, long-time Ring of Honor booker Delirious against Eddie Edwards on this past week's edition of Impact Wrestling on Access. It is a solid get, and more than a solid get, it is a great get for Impact on Jonathan Gresham, and it's solid signings like this that make you wonder why Impact still flies under the radar. But then you look at how Eric Young left programming, and you understand exactly why Impact Wrestling flies under the radar. Speaking of Impact Wrestling, the Motor City Machine Guns are now double champions, holding both the New Japan Strong Tag Team titles and the Impact Wrestling Tag Team titles after defeating Heath and Rhino for the Tag Team titles again on this recent episode of Impact Wrestling. So the Guns are Tag Team Champions again in Impact Wrestling for the third time. And basically are pushing up with FTR as being champions in multiple companies. Another update is on, of course, Sasha Banks. I know I've treated the Sasha Banks situation in a way the same as the situation with William Regal back a few weeks ago, that being that I stopped talking about it, but it seems like we are nearing the end of the Sasha Banks situation, as Sasha Banks is officially done, or more than likely officially done with WWE, and is allowed to take independent bookings within the wrestling sphere as of January the 1st. So that means that as of January the 1st, Sasha Banks is a free agent in wrestling and will be appearing at New Japan Pro Wrestling's premier event of the year, Wrestle Kingdom 17, on January the 4th. And with the mystery event that is the next day, New Year's Dash, it is extremely possible that we could be seeing Sasha Banks at New Year's Dash in some in-ring capacity, because you would have to figure that the women's division will be featured not just on Wrestle Kingdom on January 4th, but also on Night 2 of Wrestle Kingdom on January 21st, and at New Year's Dash on January the 5th in some form or fashion. But it just depends on how featured the women's division from Stardom will be in New Japan. I'm not sure if that's something that they've talked about. I'm not sure if that's something that we know. But all I do know is that Sasha Banks seemingly is done with WWE as of January the 1st. WWE has not yet said that Sasha is done with the company, but it does seem like if Sasha is taking bookings in other wrestling promotions, that Sasha is in fact done with WWE as of January the 1st. But as far as conventions, there was talk of the people that run WrestleCade trying to get Sasha Banks to come into WrestleCade back in November, but Sasha Banks was not able to take the booking for the convention, not because the convention is different than the booking for not because the convention is different than working for a company. It is more that it is just the timing of it, that if it was after January 1st, it is more than likely that Sasha would have been able to work for WrestleCade or work with WrestleCade, but because of the timing of the event, it just is not something that WWE that was allowed based on the timing of the event and the situation in general. With that being said, like I've said all throughout this, I wish nothing but the best for Sasha Banks in her future in or out of the wrestling business. If she wants to take a little bit of a break, or if she wants to try something new, then go for it, and I'm right behind you. because one thing hasn't changed. That is that I am a fan of Sasha Banks. The one thing that I can't not note is that the main gripe between WWE and Sasha seems to be that Sasha Banks requested Charlotte and Becky Lynch money and WWE denied it. I would say that because of how she was booked, that Sasha was not perceived as somebody on the level of Charlotte and Sasha and Becky, but could have easily been slotted into that spot had WWE given her the opportunity to be. But I think there were reasons that we might not be aware of why Sasha was never given that opportunity. But either way, the small semantics are moot at this point, with Sasha Banks now officially being done with WWE. With that being said, let me know down in the comment section below what your thoughts are on anything and everything that I talked about in this video, and anything that you want me to touch upon or acknowledge. Also, feel free to let me know down in the comment section below. But if you're enjoying this type of content, you can let me know by leaving a like and subscribing to the channel, because any and all interactions with the videos are more than appreciated. They do help us with the algorithm as well, which is a fight in itself, as everybody knows. And before you go, I do suggest ding-donging that notification bell to always know when a new video is up on the channel. With that being said, I will see you in the next one.